Hello and welcome everyone to round 4 of the PSGL season 27 here in F4. We are here in France at the Circuit Le Castellet for what will hopefully be a very exciting race. And this week it's once again myself commentating. My name is Felix and I am joined by Jake. Hello and welcome.
Hello, yeah, good to be here. Little bit later than planned, but yeah, we're ready to go. And certainly from what I saw yesterday, this track provides a lot of drama, so I'm expecting more of the same here in F4 too.
Yeah, if you don't know what Jake is talking about, he's talking about F7 yesterday, which you commentated as well, and you said it was a bit too much action for one man. But today, luckily, we are two people, two voices, and yeah, that should be enough, hopefully. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, last week in F4, last time, before the winter break, we didn't have the most exciting race at Spa, but it still had its own taste to it. It wasn't boring, not at all, but we just didn't have that fight for the lead really. But just because you don't have a fight for the lead, it doesn't automatically mean it's a boring race. But I think today we could see quite a lot of action because in real life, Le Castellet really didn't prove to be the best track for racing, but in game I'd call it a very good track for racing.
Yeah, it's really one of those strange ones, really. In real life, you sort of don't really look forward to it that much compared to other tracks, but on the game, there's just something about it that seems to promote great racing. I don't know if it's the lack of grass and gravel that makes drivers a little bit more eager to battle each other, or if it's just the layout of the track in general, but yeah, we tend to see some great racing here, and I expect to see more of the same tonight. And really, tonight it's all about can anyone take the fight to Ryan and Luke, because at the moment, those two have yet to be off the podium this season, which I find quite incredible after 3 races in such a close league.
Yeah, I mean, Luke is hard to get off that second place. He's finished there in every single of the first 3 races we've had this season. So consistency is key, we always say in Formula 1. But yeah, the same goes for Ryan because he finished third in the first round, but then yeah, came back even stronger in the second round and the third round, where he won 2 races in a row now, and he might be able to make it 3 tonight, but we'll have to wait and see. And quali is a good indication for the pace here, once again, as it always is. But we still have to remember that France is a track which is quite harsh on the tyres, so a one-stop isn't that easy to make if you're starting on the softs.
No, definitely not. You need to hope for a few safety cars if you are hoping to make a one-stop work. Otherwise, you're really going to have to nurse the tyres quite a lot. And yeah, we've got drivers finally out there setting lap times. They're a bit slow coming out, but we've currently got both Haas cars on a lap. And yeah, it's a very sunny qualifying session. It'll be interesting to see what the race weather holds. But yeah, for now, dry. A couple of bits of news just to say. D-Spreen has a qualifying ban, so he will he'll go out on track now to load his setup on, and then he'll immediately go back into the pits. And Kluzik has a 10-second time penalty that I believe will be added on to his race time tonight.
It's a bit to watch out for in this race, a bit to keep in the back of your mind when you're looking at the times and timing tables. But yeah, we've got the 2 Hasses as the first 2 cars who will actually set a lap. But in terms of time penalties, Jake, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be easy to pick up time penalties with the runoff area being so attractive for the drivers just to gain that extra little bit more time on the exit of a corner?
It's definitely very tempting to do. I think when you have got grass on the edge of a corner, they're a lot less willing to push the limits. But certainly from what I've seen, there's not been too many penalties. I think you'll get the odd one here and there, but I'll be shocked really to see many drivers get above 6 or 9 seconds worth of corner cutting penalties. But even just the odd 1 or 2 could make a real difference to your end results. It's all about trying to avoid picking up any penalties throughout the race, especially if you get a late safety car, because that bunches everyone up close together and really makes the penalties even more crucial.
We've got the first couple of times coming in now, and Cohen goes on to provisional pole for the moment with 2,000 ahead of Max, but here comes Ghost, only P5 for him at the moment. And actually I like this kind of phase in every qualifying session when like times are being put in right after each other. I mean, it's every 10 seconds there's a new lap time coming in. It's similar to the end of the session. I really like that kind of phase because you can see what kind of bankers people are doing, and we can see Fairham runs out of ERS when he crosses the line. Goes P9 for the moment. Kazizel has invalidated, and Vapornuth is in non-ERS mode, so I reckon he won't be on all that. Oh yeah, he is actually. He just saved his ERS. So ERS management being made by him on his flying lap. He goes P9 for the moment, not too bad. Fireman only just started his lap. He's on the long straight, and yeah, if we go on board with Fireman here, this is going to be the best overtaking opportunity on the entire track. I think the left-right chicane after the long straight, where you've got the DRS from the car ahead, if you're within that 1 second window, and you don't brake too much, you don't slow the car down too much, but still it's a braking zone which is longer than most of the braking zones around here, and I think it provides the best opportunity for an overtake.
Yeah, and you can also keep the battle going sometimes as well into turn 10, which is the flat-out right-hander, which can be very brave to do going alongside each other there, because if you do have a even slight step of oversteer on your car, it can cause quite a crash. I think I saw one yesterday in F7, which thankfully there's a lot of runoff because it meant that they didn't actually go into the wall, but it was quite a high-speed accident, and that's a decent lap from Fireman. I actually believe he did a lap previously to that, which he invalidated. So that would be his second flying lap, as it were, on those tyres. So that's a decent effort to go 4th place. And certainly from what I know about Fireman, I feel like he could be one of those drivers who may put the challenge to Ryan and Luke.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a three-way battle at some point in this season, as we are on board with Kazizel now, who is just about to finish his first lap then, after invalidating his first actual one. Goes P3 for now. And once again, we can see how close this grid is here in F4. I mean, there's a bit more than 1.5 tenths in between P1 and P6, and that is just brilliant to see. That's exactly what we want, just some close times, and yeah, very similar pace at the front.
Yeah, and it's great to see as well. We've got some new drivers here tonight for the race. We've got, I believe, we've got Nino, who's joined the league. We've got Furhan and Fireman, who I believe are reserves at the moment, but have got seats for tonight's race. And of course, certainly in Furhan and Nino's case, we saw a lot of them last season in F5. And, you know, in patches, I think they're very, very quick drivers. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with this tier, because certainly the ones we saw in F5 last year, like Ghosts, haven't quite replicated what they did last season. But I don't know, I think Nino and Furhan could do very well, but the consistency is going to be key here. We've already seen a few drivers in this tier that are already getting super consistent results. I mean, you've got Kazizel, he won the opening race, but he's only actually picked up 5 points in the next 2 races, so, you know, he's one driver who needs to get back on track tonight, but it's so tough. It's got a full grid, and already the time's super close. Like, Furhan's only half a second off pole, and he's in 13th, so it just shows how fine margins are really going to impact how well you do.
Yeah, well, especially with Nino, I think we saw towards the end of last season in F5, Nino was picking up his pace, was getting his results together, and then was actually, until the second to last round of the season, he was still in contention for the championship. In theory, he could have still won it at that point, but then sadly he had a crash. I think it was at Kota, where he then had all of his championship hopes crushed within a split second, and that was a bit sad to see. But yeah, he definitely picked up his pace and his results towards the end of the season, and maybe if this time he can be on that pace straight away, then he could be a challenger for some really good high positioning finishes throughout the entirety of the season, instead of just the second half.
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to, really. Nino didn't really show his hand in the first half of the season in F5, but really came alive in the second half of the season. I believe he picked up a win. I want to say it was Vietnam as a MC Crew goes off the track, lost the rear end of a car through the difficult final sector. I think he was on course to improve by a little bit, but that's ruined that attempt. But we've got plenty of drivers out there, including Spreen, who I imagine is about to go into the pits and retire, obviously with his qualifying ban. But yeah, Simply's on a lap at the moment, and he's one driver I think could find himself in the top 10 if he hooks up his final few corners.
I just quickly want to pick up to what you just said. Yeah, it was Vietnam. I can still remember that. Nino coming basically out of nowhere after not performing at all until that point, and then suddenly he dominated the race, and I think won by 10 seconds or something. That I can definitely remember. It was very, very dominant from Nino, and it basically came out of nowhere. And your prediction with Simply was nearly right. P11, just outside of the top 10.
That's one of my weaker commentator curses.
Well, we don't want to curse too many people, because in the end it's our fault then. I can remember I was put in the commentator's curse up to the max when I was very much complimenting a driver for his brilliant comeback in Bahrain, and then suddenly he clipped the curb on the inside through the fast right-hander and spun round, and his race was over. And in the end, he came up to me and said, "Felix, never talk about me again on stream, please."
Well, Ryan's just done his first lap, but it's only good enough for 14th, so that's a little bit surprising. Maybe he's struggling around here because he's won the last 2 races, but I think he's going to need to find a little bit more pace than that if he wants to trouble the real sharp end of a grid tonight. That's a little bit lower than I would have thought.
Yeah, man who will be happy with his lap though is Ghosts, who just went into the top 4 with that lap. Only a bit more than 2/10 off pole position at the moment. And Jake, what did we say? How will we call him now in P2?
I've actually forgotten now. You put me on the spot like that. Bury Road. I'm going to call him Bury Road. Right. If you are watching this after the stream, if you can help us out, let us know if there is an easy way to pronounce it. That's a very good lap he just did, and actually, Byman's just gone into second place. I think Cohen was on pole before, but he improved his lap to a 27.0. I suspect we may see a few drivers going to the 26s by the time this qualifying session's over, the way it's going.
Nice with Cohen only just been a couple of thousands ahead of P2 today. First run, 2,000s ahead of Max. Now second run, 3,000s ahead of Byman. I mean, we can't script it more. If he goes pole by like 1,000 or 4,000, I'm just going to lose my mind. But Cohen really seems to be on pace today, and with 5 minutes remaining, he is on provisional pole, and he looks very confident. But Diamond did improve quite a lot on his second run, so we can't forget about him either.
No, definitely not. Gabri's about to complete his first lap, but it's only good enough for 16th. I say only, he's only 7/10 off pole, but that puts you right down the field. It's quite incredible, really, to see how close it is at the moment. I'm just wondering, I think we're a sort of low at the moment in terms of drivers starting laps. We've got a few drivers out there and out laps.
Lucas starting his lap now. One of our championship contenders.
I don't know if he knows if Ryan's down in 15th, but if he does, he'll have extra motivation to try and pop it onto the first row or two here. So, and of course his teammate's on pole as well, and he's probably taken a shine away from his teammate so far, so he might want to take that back.
He's not too far up either, but that's what's so special about F4, that you really can't ever be sure that the drivers who were usually up the grid would be up the grid at that particular track as well, because right now we've got our 2 championship leaders down in P9 and P15 at the moment, so I'd call that a surprise if that was real F1, if I'd find Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas suddenly down in P9 and P15. But like you've mentioned, the grid is so close that just a couple of tenths makes such a huge difference.
And it bodes well for next week, I think, because I think we could potentially have the most thrilling qualifying session of the season next week in Monaco. I mean, just think how close that's going to be and how crucial that is as well at a track like Monaco to get it onto the first row or two. As Luke was on a good lap, but I think he made a slight mistake there if we turn 15. We just see how much that impedes his lap. Yeah, that kind of ruined his lap in the end. Went way too deep into the final corner. He was a tenth and a half up, but he stays ninth for now. And looking at the time left of the session, if he does want to do another lap, he's going to have to rush back to the pits.
Yeah, that's so frustrating as a racing driver. Just having your lap as McCrew goes P3 ahead of his teammate, who seemed to actually be the challenger for pole more than McCrew. But suddenly he's up there in P3, and that's a really good lap, less than half a tenth behind P1.
Yeah, really, really strong. And you've got drivers now getting ready to come out for their final laps of the session. The one driver who I notice who's on a lap right now is Simply, just coming through the first sector, currently in 14th, his teammate up in 8th. I thought for a second that was going to be a invalidation. That must have been right on the limit. But he's got away with it, and he's a 10th up at the moment, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in this grid, a 10th or 2 could probably put you up about 8 spots.
Yeah, well, I mean, the gap between P18, which is the last, which is last on this current grid right now, and P1 is only 9.5 tenths, and I think in real life F1, that gap is would mean a lot less. I mean, yeah, definitely not P18, but simply just invalidated, so that's a bit unlucky. And like you've mentioned, just an improvement of one single tenth would have probably gotten him up the order quite a bit. And yeah, he just threw it all away within one little invalidation.
Yeah, anyone who does want to get out there and improve just needs to get a move on. There's still a few drivers in the pits right now, but we've got Cush on a lap at the moment. I'm gonna call him Cush. I think that will be right. I think he's another debutant tonight. I could be wrong, unless he's changed his PSN name. But yeah, currently in 13th, and he is a 10th up through the first sector.
Oh, the invalidation.
Yeah, he didn't get. I think he wouldn't have got out in time, and I don't think Cohen's coming out again either. So that pole position's up for grabs if anybody wants it. He's only got it by 3 thousandths, so it's going to be tough for him to keep hold of that.
Oh, Luke. That would have been his chance to start way up ahead of Ryan, because Ryan's down in P15. Ryan is still yet to make to set his final lap of the session, and yeah, with that mistake just in the last corner, Luke has thrown away a good chance at some solid points. And I don't know if you saw it, but Cush was really blocked there by Ryan in the last corner, and Ryan kind of appeared out of nowhere as Cush goes P3, and he will be furious with current championship leader Ryan, because he definitely could have cost him those 300ths of a second that he needed for provisional pole.
Yeah, it was a really tough one. Ryan just starting his lap and Cush just finishing it, and they both met in the middle. Thankfully, it didn't cost Cush too much, at least. It probably cost him, I'd say, around a 10th maybe, which would have been all the difference to get onto pole. One person I'm noticing is on a pretty good lap at the moment is Kazizel, but we've got so many drivers out there that we're going to see some major shake-ups in these next 30 seconds.
Lloyd goes P7. Good lap there from him. Next to cross the line then is the Alfa Romeo of Cohen, but he has not made it. He's still on his outlap, and he has only just not made it.
Got Kazizel about to finish his
lap. Oh no,
he
has made it. He has made it. Okay, it was just a timing glitch for us. So Cohen has made it. Cohen is still yet to finish his lap, but there goes Thyman then, but he seems to be down on his lap time, and yes he is. He stays 3 thousandths of a second behind Cohen. Kush is only just finished his lap, and there goes Ghosts. Brilliant lap there, which puts him onto provisional pole, but remember Cohen is still yet to set his lap. Boy Rod, that's what we wanted to call him. Boy Rod comes across the line. Where will he go? P2, less than half a tenth behind pole for the minute. Maxwell's still out on a lap. He will come across the line. He stays P7 for now. Though. Vapornuth won't set another lap. Loic won't either. Kryptonite is out on a lap. And then, at last, it's going to be Cohen who will set his final lap. Oh, and that is probably pole only if Kryptonite can do something against it, but he can't. And that is P9 for Kryptonite, solid lap. But that is pole position for Ghosts. and that is really impressive. I mean, at the start, it's quite ironic that at the start of the session you talked about Ghosts and him not being able to put in those kind of performances he did put in F5 last season, and then he completely proves you wrong with the commentator's curse and just goes on pole position by half a tenth.
That's the kind of commentator's curse I need to do more often. Fair play to Ghost. I said I thought a driver would get into the 26s, and in the end he was the only one to do so. But what I find really interesting is the top three in the championship. We got Ryan starting 16th, Luke in 14th, and Loic is in 11th. None of the top three in the championship have even made it into the top 10. That's incredible, really.
That's definitely quite a surprising qualifying session, but I know Cohen will be mad at himself for invalidating there. He could have maybe got pole position there, but yeah, in the end, it's a Ghost who kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't even have him on my radar throughout the entirety of the session, and then suddenly he just puts in that kind of lap time and goes on pole. That's brilliant.
Well, I mean, looking at his results so far this season, he DNF'd the first race, he got 9th in the second race, and then, I say last week, a few weeks back at Spa, he got 5th, so he's improving all the time, his Ghost, and I suppose in a way it's kind of what he did in F5 last season. He just kept building and building, and I don't know, I think the more he gets used to the league, the better he's getting, and I tell you what, it's very close, obviously. Like, you look down the grid, like less than half a second separate everyone on that first page, which is just insane, but that's a stunning effort from Ghost. And then we've got Boyrod in second, who I'm going to say, we're probably not saying his name correctly, but we'll give it our best shot on that one.
Yeah, well, we are trying, okay? It's not that easy, but I just wanted to mention, thank you for everyone who's tuning in right now. 22 viewers is quite a lot for F4, to be honest, especially considering we've got other divisions live right now as well. So, yeah, quite impressive.
Yeah, really impressive. Almost as impressive as the lap Ghost put in right at the end. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised there was only one driver that made it into the 26s, but Ghost really did it when it mattered. And fair play. He's in that really prime position at the start of the race, but it's going to be interesting because although we talk about the top three in the championship being outside the top 10, as we mentioned, with the tyre wear and starting on softs, it might not be the worst thing having a free tyre choice here, because it really gives you the opportunity to make a one-stop work a lot better than those inside the top 10 do. So, I don't know, I'd definitely keep an eye out for those outside the top 10, because they're in a much better position strategy-wise.
That is true, and we can see quite a lot of different tyre choices being made outside the top 10. Nino, by the way, we haven't talked about his qualifying position on his debut here in F4. He's qualified 12th. Not a bad starting position at all either. And we can see the predicted pit stop strategy. The game suggests a 2-stop, which definitely suggests you as a driver already that a 1-stop won't be easy at all. And yeah, the drivers inside the top 10 will find that out. But interestingly enough, Luke is the only one outside the top 10 to start on softs. Then we've got Ryan on hards, Gabri on hards, and Spreen on hards. Everyone else is on mediums. And also interesting to note is that the top 3 in the championship, or top 3 championship contenders, all starting outside the top 10 and all starting on a different tyre compound.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised about Luke's decision to start on soft, so I wouldn't have gone with that way personally. But I suppose one advantage he could have if he does have a good start is that he can get involved with the top 10 and he'll have better soft tyres that maybe could make a one-stopper work. But, you know, I genuinely think the start of the race is going to be crucial, well, for everyone, of course, but more so for Luke, because he needs to gain some positions, I think, to make that soft tyre strategy work.
Yeah, I think we all remember, or most of us do remember 2018 in real life, when Sebastian Vettel crashed with Valtteri Bottas coming down into turn 1. Obviously the first race around here in modern F1. And you could see already that the start can be quite hectic around here. I mean, we've got a lot of runoff, but it's still very tricky, especially with turn 1 being half blind with the little uphill kink you've got there. And it can be a bit tricky for the drivers. Yesterday in F7 we had a crash at the start as well. So yeah, the drivers just need to keep it clean, and especially those 3 championship contenders need to, because they are probably all not really used to starting so far back on the grid, and especially with a 20-car grid, that is going to be difficult.
Yeah, definitely, and looking at it, it's going to be interesting to see how Ghost does, because Mercedes are currently leading the constructors. That is mostly down to Ryan, but tonight's really the opportunity Ghost has to prove himself.
And I don't know if the lights are actually coming on. Yes, they are. And we are waiting for the lights to go out. We do have a glitch on stream, but I can hear the engine revving, and it's lights out, and away we go here in front. It seems to be a good start from Ghost, and he can defend his position against the Renault in second place, and Cohen stays in third for now, but it goes down the inside of the Renault. That's a late move, and that's very opportunistic, and we've got a VSC already, and Luke is out.
Luke is out. And Jan's got a penalty for a collision with him, so it looks like those two may have come together.
Nino's well.
And that's... Oh, I could only apologise, really, because I literally said Luke needs to get off to a good start, and that couldn't have been any further from a good start. So, yeah, I almost feel like I may have commentators cursed that one. That's a disaster for Luke, and his run of second places has come to an end in really disastrous circumstances.
Yeah, that was quite awful, and we didn't even see it on stream, but we can see Simon is sitting in the slipstream of Cohen, who didn't have the best of VSC restart there, but he still stays ahead as Simon gets a little love tap from behind from Kush, who is just trying to tell the car in front, just trying to tell Simon, you know, I'm still there, I'm right at the back of you, if you make a mistake, I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, he probably didn't need to be reminded that Kush was there. But, yeah, the top 4 still very close together, and Feynman's still having a little look against Cohen, see if he can make a move. These other sort of corners, these kind of corners around France, they sort of tempt you into half-hearted moves sometimes, and I think you just sometimes almost got to guard yourself against going for it, because there's certain corners where you can stick your nose up the inside, but there's not really anything else you can do.
Yeah, it really seems close at the front right now. At least it looks like for the top 5 it does. And Max is really close behind his teammate, and it looks like there are some team orders going on. Yes, there are. And McCrew lets his teammate go past. And yeah, that's a team tactical decision. And it's nice to see. And yeah, we can see Max weaving there, saying thank you very much. And that is some good team spirit in between the house balls.
Yeah, they got to be careful though. The last thing Max really needs to get into the DRS of those in front, because the last thing you want is to be cut adrift from the top 5, and he's doing his best to make sure that he'll be in the DRS window next lap.
But look at the front. There's Cohen sitting in the slipstream. I don't know if he actually wants to get past Boyrod, but he kind of needs to, because Ghost is pulling away slightly. But we're waiting for the DRS to be activated. Obviously, it's activated on the next lap when we are on lap 3. Jan was the only one to make a pit stop on lap 1, probably after some front wing damage there, or maybe a drive-through, I'm not quite sure. Nino stayed out, and Klusic just got past Ryan, so Ryan not having the best of races so far either. And yeah, that is Ryan being overtaken, but we have to remember Ryan is on the hard compound.
Yeah, and those hard tyres may take a few laps to get into the right temperature window for Ryan. I'm guessing Jan had damage. He was involved in that collision with Luke. He got a 5-second penalty, which I think he served under that stop. But yeah, I mean, if it destroyed Luke's car, I think it would have been very fortunate if Jan had got away without damage as well. So yeah, he must have come in to change his front wing, and now he's just hoping for a safety car, really, try and bring him back into things.
I just want to quickly see how much ERS Ghost has got. He could have tried to just use a little bit more ERS to get himself away and to get Boyrod behind him out of that 1 second window. But that didn't quite work out. 6/10s in between P1 and P2 at the moment. And yeah, the top 5 are still really close, and Max did do a good job so far to close up a little bit to the top 5 ahead, and he's helping his teammate as well, because he gives him the DRS, and look at that, that's basically a drain from P1 all the way down to P13.
Yeah, the driver that's probably doing the best with the ERS usage at the moment in this whole train is Kush. And although he might need to use some of it now because he didn't have a particularly clever exit out of turns 8 and 9, so he's had to use a bit of his overtake now to defend against Max. But yeah, up to that point, Kush was the one who was serving his ERS the best, and it really is about that now. Ghost obviously hasn't quite got the pace to pull away, but at the same time, he's not slow either. So it's just because everyone's so close to this division, everyone's just following each other at the moment, and we're sort of waiting for someone to make a move. But I almost wonder if we're a little scared to do so because of how close things are. They know if they don't get the overtake right, they could find themselves losing a few spots.
Yeah, I find it very interesting to see all the different lines. Obviously, you've mentioned the swooping corners, which slightly tend to make a half-hearted move here and there, but you can see the different lines that drivers are taking, and I think that's really cool to see, where drivers gain a bit more time and where they lose a bit of time. And yeah, it's all down to what the driver prefers to do, if they want to have more speed on the exit or through the middle of the corner, and that could make an overtake possible more than other spots. But in the meantime has got a 3-second penalty. But yeah, I think that's really nice to see so many different lines through those swooping long corners.
That's not good for Nino, because he's already got a 5-second penalty as well, so it's already up to 8 seconds worth of penalties. But one thing to note is that not only is Ryan stuck down in 15th, he's become detached from this leading group of 13. Kluzik's 3 seconds behind this group, so Ryan's really not having a good time of it at the moment, and he's not exactly clambering over the back of Kluzik either. So yeah, Ryan's race just really not going to plan so far.
And you could see Cohen going up wide there, and Boyrod losing the rear end. Might that be the soft tyres already losing a bit of grip? I mean, we are only on lap 4, but we know how harsh France is on tyre wear, and that was quite a snap of oversteer on the exit there for Boyrod.
Yeah, it's getting to that sort of window where you wonder if the likes of Loic and Furhan and Nino are going to start to carve their way through this group of soft tyre runners, because their tyres should start to be in a better state. It's Kryptonite who's the first of the soft tyre runners they need to get past. So I'm expecting Loic to maybe make a move in the next lap or so, just because of the tyres.
Speaking about making a move, Cohen is really close to Boyrod now, and that is probably because of the snap of oversteer that Boyrod had, and Ryan not having the best race already, and now he's picked up his first penalty as well. So it's not going well for our current championship leader today. But yeah, I feel like France is a track that is weak for many drivers, where many drivers are struggling with. But yeah, Cohen just a bit too far away to actually make a move. Is Simon too far away from Cohen? Yes, he is, and he has to stay.
Oh, we've got Vapornoof and Kazizel going side by side for P8 further down the field, and it looks like, I think Kazizel, was he in front of him before? I'm not too sure, but they're going side by side to turn 10. It's a McLaren with the inside line, and Vapornoof's going to have the better line and should keep hold of P8, unless Kazizel has a move back at him, which he decides not to. But yeah, finally a couple of drivers there making a move, but it's a McLaren that gets the position in the end.
Good move there, committed, and in the end he got the position.
Big moment for Kush. Big moment for Kush there. Nearly lost the rear end of the car, but he's managed to pick it up and hold on to 5th. But that would have been a scary moment as Max pits. So that's an early stop, and that would suggest, unless there's a safety car, that would suggest a 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, I think so as well. I don't think that's a 1-stop. That would be that would take quite a lot of tyre saving. Oh, as Cohen went wide as he tried to get past Boyrod there, and he's made the move stick, but I don't think that was the smartest decision to do, because now he will be left for dead on the long straight where you usually would overtake, and we've got a retirement further down the field. That is Kluzik, who has crashed, it looks like, and we've got a VSC, and that's going to save Cohen. So he's timed that move to absolute perfection there.
That's something I need to clue up on for the next race, but I don't know now, because Kluzik has had a 10-second penalty added to his race time. Will that go on to next week, or will that just be chalked off now?
I'm not sure. I think it goes on to next week. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it does. And I'm not sure. Did you pay attention if Max was already completely out of the pits when the VSC came out, or was he still slightly in the pits?
I think he may have slightly been in the pits. It would have been close. If he has gained time, I wouldn't say it would be too much. Looking at the split times, I don't think he has gate. I think he must have come out just afterwards. Oh, and
Oh,
Boyrod's got
no.
a drive-through penalty. That's a disaster for him.
That's unlucky. That's very unlucky. Quicksilver, okay.
And Ghost and Boyrod are into the pits.
Yeah,
Although Boyrod could be in for his drive-through.
Yeah, Ghost, though, our race leader so far. He's now not a race leader anymore. But at 5, that's quite early as well. And he might get held up by this Renault here. No, he doesn't. Oh, that's lucky. That is very lucky. But the Renault of Kryptonite actually does get held up.
Well, if Ghost and Max are planning to go to the end, that's tough order. They've gone on to hards, which is surprising because I feel like if they were putting themselves in for a 2-stop, they would have probably gone for mediums. But yeah, they've both gone for hard tyres, which suggests they're going to try and get to the end from here. But that's going to be a real interesting one to find out if they can manage it.
Very interesting to see how close behind Maxwell is now. Because I think that gap in between him and Ghost was bigger than 2 seconds. So he might be able to jump 1 or 2 drivers, maybe Kush at least, who was right ahead of him. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But Diamond gained some time back because he only just came into that 1 second window of Cohen ahead. He was slightly outside it, but then he pushed it a little bit and managed to get inside of that 1 second window. And Casillas lost the DRS from Vapornuth ahead.
I tell you it was going to be interesting. That pit lane's not the most conventional to get out of in terms of where the exit feeds out, and I reckon we're going to see a few cars side by side, just of the nature of how close everyone is, as Cohen and Feynman come into the pits, as does Kush. So that's some, and Vapornuth and Kaziz also there. That's all the soft tyre runners into the pits now. So I reckon we could see a few side by sides here, and that could be a bit of a challenging one on the pit exit.
It could be. We'll have to wait and see for that though. But there goes everyone into the pits, and let's look at Cohen. Where does Cohen come out? Only just ahead
Boyrod's
of Feynman.
having no better luck. He's just got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Oh, and Kush lost the spot. Kush lost the spot to Vapornuth. And yeah, there goes Max. Look at Max. That's the undercut he had, and probably a bit of a VSC advantage. He's just slipped in between Cohen and Feynman. That undercut has worked brilliantly, but his tyres will be a lot worse at the end of the race. But that definitely worked for him, and now he's right behind Cohen. Cohen won't have the DRS on Ghost, who's made a brilliant undercut as well. Ghost has a 1.8 second gap, and now Max might be able to pressurise Cohen ahead. Or Feynman will try to get past Max as quickly as he can because he knows he's quicker, but he doesn't use his overtake DRS mode. Will Max go for a move on Cohen? No, he won't.
And if these three start battling, it just plays into Ghost's hands further. He's got that margin, I think, that he was after. He's got a 1.7 second advantage over Cohen, and these three all super close together. Yeah, Feynman looking at a move on Max around the outside of turn 10.
He tries to go around the outside. That's going to be difficult. He'll try the switchback, but you can see Feynman seems to be a bit impatient here, and he might go for a move around the outside here. He has a little look on the outside, but that's never going to work for him. And he stays down in P11 for now, and behind Maxwell. And that has definitely cost him some time, because I don't think Maxwell has got the same pace as Cohen and Feynman usually here.
No, it's worked out really well for Max, but it's going to be a tough test now. A, to see if he can keep the likes of Feynman behind him, but also B, how he's going to be on his tyres towards the end, because he pitted the first. He took the undercut, he took the opportunity to gain positions, but he's going to then pay the price later on. And I almost get the feeling that Feynman making a move on Max is more of a question of when and not if, because he's looking like he really wants to get past that Haas. He can see Cohen starting to disappear into the distance, and he does not want to let that Alpha get away.
It's a really crucial phase here for Feynman if he wants to stay within that 1 second window of Cohen, which is now completely gone, and Feynman is too far away to make a move on Max on this lap as well. And Cohen is actually gaining a little bit on Ghosts now, as Kazizo goes past Kryptonite at the back of the grid. But yeah, Feynman is really cost him in right now, I think. This is not really going his way at the moment.
No, definitely not. And it's so tricky because Max is still in the DRS of Cohen, so it's a lot more difficult to make a move stick, and he's got to be careful as well, because it looks like McCrew and Vapordoof are going to be joining this fight soon, so Feynman's sort of running out of time here. He's got to the point where, and obviously Max will know that his teammate's coming up to this, so that may play into how he sort of defends the position, should Feynman make the move.
Yeah, a lot to think about now for Feynman. It's not an easy situation for him, and he's in the pits. Goes into the hard compound. I think medium to hard is actually the best strategy, because you don't have to stretch your tyres out too much at any point. But Feynman's still really close to the rear of Max, and I think if he doesn't want to lose that time to Max that he is losing right now, he needs to get past Max. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty difficult towards the end of the race, I'd say.
Would you potentially make the case then that Loic, Furhan and Nino could have a part to play in this race later on?
I think they could. I really think they could, because right now they're just a bit too far behind as soon as they're pit, obviously, but who knows, there could be a safety car, and I think then those couple of guys up ahead then will have the freshest tyres and might have some good pace, because we saw them being in that train. And we all know Loic as well. And there goes Simon down the inside. That's a very late move. That's very close to contact. And now down the inside of turn 11. Can he make that move actually stick? That was quite surprising. I didn't expect him to go down the inside. But there he goes now. It's got the outside line. Max goes off the track as he tries to defend the position very hardly. And he's going to push Diamond out wide. Diamond goes off the track as well. But he's got the spot. And that might have been an illegal move. But before Max went off the track as well. So that might be just okay.
Yeah, that was really hard racing there. Feynman caught catching Max off guard. I think McCrew might be a little bit disappointed he wasn't that little bit closer there to him, because he could have potentially taken advantage of that. But yeah, nicely done from Feynman, a move he needed to make. But the one thing to note as well is that Cohen is starting to come back at Ghost as well, so Ghost isn't just running away with this one, because Cohen's now back in his DRS.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, like, there's not that much action actually on track in terms of overtakes, but I think it's one of those races where it's going to come down to the end, or to the end of the race. Like in the last 3 to 5 laps, I think everything is going to come down, because look at that big trend we've got here from P7 all the way down to P15, and that's just brilliant to see. I love that.
Yeah, and it's going to be any penalty is going to be crucial, and literally just as I'm about to say that, Kush picks up one, so yeah, at the moment none of the guys at the absolute sharp end, like Ghost, Cohen, Feynman, have got penalties, but there's a few bit further down that have, and that could really work against them later on as Loic and Nino come into the pits. But Loic has got a 5-second penalty, which is going to be all too costly, and that all of a sudden puts Furhan in a good spot, who has stayed out for another lap.
Yeah, I think the mediums can go one more lap here, and I think they'll be fine. I mean, he probably saw his timings on the top right and thought, you know what, my pace is not too shabby at the moment. I'll just go for one more lap in clean air, and then have the overcut in 1 lap fresher tyres at the end.
Yeah, and where they coming out? I mean, to be fair, like, that's not too bad for Loic. I know he's got that 5-second penalty, which is really unfortunate and could cost him, but in terms of sort of time-wise where he's come out, he's only come out just under 2 seconds behind this massive train of cars. So really, the medium tyre runners haven't lost out too much. I'm a bit surprised. Oh, well, Nino would have had to serve his 5-second penalty. Yeah. That's the reason why he's lost out. But based on that, Furhan in particular could be a real threat later on.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any pens, and he's going to be right in between Nino and Loic then, in P15 probably. And doesn't seem too bad right now for Furhan. He could be just very silently cutting his way through the field then on a fresh set of hard tyres. I mean, they're about 5 laps fresher than of all the other guys around him, maybe a bit more, and then obviously 1 lap fresher than Nino and Loic. But this race is very interesting, and you can't really, because that train is so big, you can't really tell what's going to happen.
No, definitely not. And Cohen's right now right on the back of Ghost. So Ghost has been dragged right back into this as Fairhand pits. And I do wonder as well, is this massive train of cars going to catch the top 3 before they pit? Because if they do, that could be another obstacle in Ghost's way.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that as well, because it's not far, 4.5, and Ghost is catching up quite massively as Jan pits once again, and Fairhand, yeah, 1.9 seconds behind Loic, and he's got the freshest set of tyres of anyone else ahead of him, so that might be a real chance for him. But keep in mind, that DRS train could make overtaking very, very difficult, because obviously everyone's got the DRS, everyone's got the slipstream, and it's then so tough to pass. Only if you do a very surprising move like Thyman did. I mean, that move was brilliant, gotta say. That took a lot of bravery to actually go down the inside of turn 10 there. And also fair play to Max, who gave him the space he needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those races where if you are going to make a move, you're really going to have to commit to it. And that's exactly what Feynman did in that instance. So that really paid off for him. And I did see, certainly last night, a few half-hearted moves. You just can't afford to do that, especially when you're in a DRS train. If you make a half-hearted move, you're not only not going to get the position, you're probably going to lose a couple too. So, yeah, for Feynman, he made a really important move, and it was brilliant at the same time. And good to see the respect between the drivers. But I have to say, Feynman's not exactly been able to get anywhere quickly with it, because Max is still right behind him.
Yeah, Max is doing a really good job, and I gotta say, I didn't really expect him to be that far up here today, but he's doing a pretty good job. I didn't have him on my radar, to be honest, but who I definitely have got on my radar is Cohen, who has closed up that gap, who's closed down that gap to Ghosts, and Ghost will probably wish for those top 3 guys who haven't pitted yet to be right ahead of him now already. But the gap is still 4.1 seconds, and now it's the chance for Cohen maybe to get past him. But then he definitely needs to build up that gap. And speaking of Cohen, he just locked up coming down into turn 8, and that's not going to help him if he wants to make a move.
No, I actually thought with how much he locked up, he may have come under threat from Feynman behind, but he managed to gather it up halfway through the misjudged chicane just enough so that he didn't come under threat from behind. But yeah, they're not making the progress to the top 3 that I thought they would make, if I'm being completely honest. So that, in a way, is actually going to help Ghost in that sense of things, unless Cohen makes a move. But yeah, none of the current top, well, from Ghost down to Vapornoof have a penalty. But that means that if any of them do get a penalty now, it's going to be absolutely critical. As Ryan makes a pit stop, I'm guessing for mediums to take to the end. That's going to be a tough stint to make.
Yeah. That's quite a lot. 13 laps on mediums. That's not going to be easy. I'm afraid he needs a VSC at some point, at least, to make those tyres work till the end, because otherwise they are going to be absolutely dead, and they might even be around puncture territory.
That almost signals to me that Ryan kind of feels like unless he tries something a little bit unorthodox, he knows he's not getting any points today. So he's almost trying something a little bit different and just seeing what happens with it, because he just hasn't had the pace that we're used to seeing from him. So yeah, I think it's one of those where he's just gone for a bit of a different strategy, and he's hoping that something will work in his favour.
And we've got a fight in between McCrew and Vapornooth, and Vapornooth tried to get past the Haas. He's been right behind him for a couple of laps now, but this fight isn't over yet. Maybe down the inside of turn 10. He is not using his ERS at the moment, but on turn 11 we saw Feynman going down the inside, and there he uses his overtake down the inside of turn 11. He goes then side by side with the Haas driver, and he's now got the inside line. It's going to turn to the outside for turn 12 then. The left-hander, he's still on the outside. He's got a car with the head, but only just makes the move, loses the rear end, a bit of contact, and look at Kush. Brilliant stuff from him. He's now got the inside line, and that should be enough to get the spot, shouldn't it? But no, Vapornooth stays down the inside, and that's some brilliant fighting here. And Kush, that was so smart from him.
And there you got Kazizel trying to get involved as well. He's also trying to make the move now on McCrew. Is he going to make the move around the inside of turn 1? He's going to have it into turn 2. There's a bit of contact between them, and I believe, but he's gone round the Haas driver.
Brilliant save.
Oh wow, he saved onto her. Didn't quite get the correct camera angle there, but yeah, well done for him to save it. It looks like he was pretty much a goner, but he's managed to hold on to that, and that could be key for him picking up points. But yeah, it's been boiling up for a while, and I think it finally came to the surface, this battle, just then.
Yeah, that's exactly what you were talking about, isn't it? I mean, to make a move then, that triggers a chain reaction basically, because if you get overtaken, you're probably going to be under threat from the car behind the car that overtook you as well. And if you don't make the move, you're going to be under threat from the car that was behind you originally. So everything might go down with just one single move being made, and we've only just seen that. And that was so smart from Kush to just stay behind. And then there was the contact in between the Haas and the McLaren. He just thought, thank you very much, I'm just going to take that position. And some great and brilliant and fair fighting in between those guys. Obviously, except from that spin in the end, sadly.
Yeah, fair play to the, I think it was like four or five of them in the end. But they kept it clean for the most part and did a really good job. And now Kush is right in the battle. He hasn't lost too much time, which has surprised me. I almost thought they'd get cut adrift of the DRS train with that battle, but no, Kush is still right there behind Max for P4, so he's right there with all these guys, and you're just waiting for a similar chain reaction to happen at the front, because I can't imagine Cohen's going to sit behind forever and accept second.
No, me neither, but can we just appreciate for a second here, we're on lap 17 of this race, and in between P1 and P9, there is not a single pair of cars outside of the 1 second window of the car ahead. And that is just brilliant.
Oh, and here comes Feynman.
Yeah.
He's going to go down the inside of Cohen. He's made it stick into the mistrial chicane. Beautiful move. And he's really, I think he almost caught Cohen off guard there. I was on board with Cohen, and he almost, it's like he didn't register that Feynman was about to make the move. So, I wonder if there was a bit of tactical ERS deployment there from Feynman, and he's made his way up to second. And I tell you what, I would be a lot more scared if I was Ghost now, because we're seeing Feynman pick off some really good moves here.
Yeah, I actually didn't expect that. I was rather expecting a move from Cohen on Ghost at some point, but no, there comes Feynman basically out of nowhere. He was sitting behind closely for the last couple of laps as well, but then that's what we saw before with Diamond. Then he's just going for one committed move and makes it stick, and that's what he needs to do today in France. And I think the overtake on Ghosts might be a lot easier now, because obviously Ghost hasn't got any slipstream, hasn't got any DRS, and Diamond has even got more ERS than him. And Cohen has got the second most. Look at the amount of ERS that Max has got. That's brilliant. Max could be a real threat here as well, but remember his sides are 2 laps older than from Cohen and Feynman, but still, look at the ERS amount he's got. He's got 100%.
Max is going to be a massive threat here, and I don't think he's going to come under any threat from behind, because he'll have plenty of overtake to fend them off with. So Max is doing a great job there, and he's really thinking about the long game. But I get the feeling that a move from Feynman on Ghost might not be too far away, because he's looking so threatening. We've already seen him pull off one move through this fast right-hander before, but I don't think he's quite close enough on this occasion. But he's got more ERS available to him than Ghost, so he's really in a strong position right now, and he's actually getting very close with the aid of a slipstream. He didn't actually need to use any of the overtake, but Ghost, I think, quite sensibly covered the inside line. So for now, Feynman has to stick behind in second, but based on what we've seen so far, he'll make a move at some point, and it will be committed.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. And just a quick note, Loic is in P9, and Loic has completely caught up to that train, and he's got by far the freshest set of tyres out of everyone up ahead. And Boyrod just picked up a penalty, and yeah, his race has really been going downhill since his drive through, which is very, very sad to see.
Yeah, and I maybe not so much now, but certainly in the last 5 laps, I suspect Loic is going to be a big threat, because when we get to the last 5 laps, those, especially those that pitted early, like Max, like Ghost, like Krypton, are really going to be struggling on the tyres, and that's where Loic can start to really pick off the positions. So although we're not seeing him make a size through the field just yet, I reckon in the sort of 5 laps time, he'll start to make his move.
Yeah, let's see. Diamond. I'm not really sure if Diamond actually wants to get past Ghost here. I'm really not sure because it's very comfortable for him. He's saving more and more ERS. He doesn't even need to use it once throughout the entirety of the lap. He's sitting in the slipstream. He's got enough ERS to defend from Cohen if it's necessary. But for the moment, it's not even necessary.
One driver who is in big trouble now in this train is Kazizel. He's now got 9 seconds worth of penalties, so he's really going to drop down at the end. And to be fair, behind the top 3 in the championship, he is actually the one in 4th, so he could have really taken some points out of the leading pair tonight. But with that penalty amount he's got, that's going to be really tough going for him now.
And Cohen is so close to the rear end of Diamond. I'm actually not sure if Cohen is thinking about getting that spot back. I'm not sure. I mean, P2 is definitely more comfortable than P3, obviously, because you've got one less car ahead and you've got the best chance of defending. But yeah, I think look at how close Cohen is on this lap now. Do you reckon he wants to get that spot back? I could see him trying to.
It's almost like a game of cat and mouse at the moment. Like they're all sort of, it's almost like a tactical race in that you almost feel like they could make a move if they really want to, but it's almost like, no, you make a move. You know, they're almost like trying to goad each other into making a move. But here comes Feynman. This could be an opportunity to get past Ghost down the inside into the chicane, and he's done it. That was once again a very decisive move, but Ghost might come back at him on the exit. But I think he got a bit of a snap of oversteer, so Feynman has got the lead. But for how long? Because Ghost is using his overtaken. Cohen,
oh no!
Oh.
He just picked up a penalty with that.
Oh, I think Ghost was so... I was on board with Ghost. It looked like he was so busy trying to come back at Feynman. I'm not sure he actually registered that Cohen was there.
That might be a pen afterwards for Ghost, because Cohen was definitely had his front wing alongside Ghost's rear tyre, and on the straight you then need to leave the car's width of space on the outside, but he just completely pushed him off track. And I think that might be the case, what you just said, that he just didn't register him, and in the end that cost Cohen to get a penalty.
We talk about how crucial a 3-second penalty could be. Just let me say this to you right now, there's 3 seconds covering the top 9 in this race. Just wow.
This is really brilliant. I love this so far. I mean, so close once again. And yeah, Fairhound seems to be picking up some points, because remember, Loic has got a 5-second penalty, currently sitting in P9. And if I look at Fairhound's penalties, he's only got 3 seconds. Ah, no, won't be enough for the moment. Won't be enough. Nino might lose a spot there on penalties, but let's see if Cohen now tries to get past Ghost as well. Cohen will be a bit mad in that car right now, sitting behind the wheel, being pushed off the track in the straight. Probably not his favourite thing to do on a Sunday night, being pushed off the track. And Ryan slightly moves up now into P12 he goes, and might be able to pick up a point here. Ooh, but look at how close Ghost is. I don't think Ghost actually wants that spot back for now.
And Kush was having a little bit of a look at Max for P4, but has opted out of it in the end. What I'm a bit surprised at, I don't want to... At the end of the day, these drivers are a hell of a lot better at it than I am. But I'm very surprised that Loic has got so little ERS available to him. Considering the position he's in with the fresher tyres, I thought he would have been doing absolutely everything to save his ERS for this time in the race. But if anything, he's running lowest out of anybody.
That's not
I find that bizarre.
Ryan sets the fastest lap of the race, but it's no worth if he's not inside the top 10. Won't get any points for it. But right now, it seems like Ghost is slightly losing some time to Diamond. And Diamond might be able to get out of that 1 second window, which would be crucial and could give him his race win today.
And this is going to be a real opportunity for Cohen to get past Ghost. He just has so much better exit. He's using his overtake. He wants to make the move. Oh, but he doesn't go for it. He didn't quite have his nose far enough alongside for him to feel like it was a done deal. But Ghost again had a real wiggle out the chicane, and that's going to give Cohen the inside line for turn 10. Is he going to make the move for his fast right-hander? This is going to be really brave if he manages it. There's a bit of contact, wheel to wheel, but I think he's going to get it done. Yes, he is. I thought for a second he was going to go to the back of Feynman. But no, he makes the move, stick a bit of contact between the pair again, but that hopefully might calm a little bit of the anger that was developing in that cockpit.
And look at Ghost. Is that maybe the effect of that one extra lap he has got on those hards? I've noticed he's lost the rear end a couple of times already, and now once again after he'd been overtaken, lost the rear end, and I think it's going to be really difficult now for him. And I think we should count out that 3-second penalty for now from Cohen, because I think that might be removed. The only way it wouldn't be removed is if he'd get another warning. As Ryan goes into P11 and is now on his way to maybe pick up some points.
I was going to say, I mentioned how Ryan's having a bit of a disastrous race for him. He's only 9 seconds off the lead.
But, like, usually that would mean he's probably like around P6, 7, I'd reckon. But today that means you're down in P11. Because if you're not within 3 seconds of P1, you're outside the top 9.
It's just absolutely insane, but it looks like Feynman is starting to make his move, and Ghost really looks like he's struggling. Like you say, Max is now over the back of him as well, and let's not forget as well, Max was actually one of the earlier stoppers himself. He only pitted... Actually no, Max has got the oldest tyres out of a lot of them. He's got 17 lap old tyres, but to be fair, he looks like he's coped with them a lot better than Ghost has.
Yeah, and Feynman has just broken out of that 1 second window, and that might be crucial, but I think Cohen just used a bit of DRS to get back in there. But I think he's lost the DRS, and that could be crucial.
And it's a puncture! Max has got a puncture!
Oh, has he?
He has, yeah. There's a puncture on his front left.
Oh, that's early.
Tyre.
That's the biggest commentator's curse you've had today.
I'm on form today, and that's not a good thing.
I mean, you only just said he looks to be the one with who watched out for his tyres the most, and then 30 seconds later he literally gets a puncture.
Wow! I can only apologise, Max, for that. And I have to say, if Max has got a puncture, then it does make you worry for some of the other guys in this trainer cars, because they've got really old tyres too. So, yeah, that could be a warning to everybody else. They're going to have to do some serious tyre saving for the remainder of this race.
Especially Ghost. He's only on 1 lap fresher tyres. So could lap 24 be the lap he gets the puncture? Or can he actually make it? It's going to be tough, and that's what we were talking about. That time management is crucial in this race, because the one stop really isn't easy at all, and that is shown here. But brilliant stuff from Diamond so far, and he's currently 1.4 seconds ahead and in the lead, and is on his way to win the race. But yeah, I mean, we still got 3 laps to go when we cross the line, and we only just saw then that anything is possible in this race.
I think we're finally starting to see, thanks to the tyre wear, our gap's starting to form. But I'm surprised Loic hasn't made any positions up yet, especially given the fact that Krypton in front of him is on the same lap old tyres as Ghost. So you'd think that Krypton would be struggling too, but Loic just isn't making the moves I thought he'd be making at this stage, and he's stuck in 8th, which he's only got because of Max's puncture. So I suppose the only thing Max can hope to salvage now is the fastest lap. As Kazizel gets yet another penalty, he's surely gonna fall out the points at the end of a race. I'm
keeping an eye on Ghosts, because I think he might not be able to make it till the end, with Max now having a puncture. Of course it wasn't clean air, but still, it's he's gonna have 20 laps then on these hards.
Yeah, Krypton's another one.
Make it any easier. And the thing is, if he gets a puncture, where will he get the puncture? Well, actually it doesn't matter, because the grid is so close that you'll drop to the back of the grid no matter where you get the puncture.
That's the thing. Max got a puncture at possibly the best possible part of the track, and he's still in last.
That's amazing to see. I mean, it's such a close grid. That's beautiful. I love that.
This race is going to be so tough to call, and Loic is looking threatening behind Krypton. He's going down the inside and he's spun. Loic has hit into Krypton. He went for a move. It was again one of those half-hearted moves. Krypton, I don't know if you saw him coming. It was a very late move, and Loic hadn't really made any progress up to that point, and yeah, that move just unfortunately went wrong for him, and he's now fallen outside the points himself. And now it's going to be up to Furhan to see if he can do anything about the guys in front. But I have to say, Feynman's done an absolutely incredible job out front, and he's just pulling away, and he looks like he's got his tyres in really good control at the moment. I'm going to emphasise that this time. But yeah, Ghost's pace isn't too bad right now. He's still not far behind Cohen. He's got Kush quite close to him, but really we are seeing a few gaps start to form because Zizzle's dropped off the back of a group somewhat. So it has now become a 5-car battle, but obviously Feynman's 1.8 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, the thing is that we saw, I think Max had a front left puncture as Kryptonite goes past Kazizzle, and that seemed like a pretty easy move because they weren't even alongside each other as they went to the apex of the corner. But we've got one lap to go when we cross the line, and here goes Ghost then with his absolutely dead tyres. He tries to go around the outside, but that's not going to work out for him just yet. But we saw Max getting a front left puncture, and that's the tyre that is going to be stretched the most for Ghost as well because of the many long swooping right-handers here.
He's just locked up as well,
front, and that is not good for that tyre. Once again a lock up. That's the right front this time though. And we're coming on to the last lap of this race now. Diamond in the lead. It seems to be for him now an easy win, but we shouldn't call it too early. But he definitely worked hard for it, no doubt about that. But Cohen still needs to stay ahead of Ghosts. He's got a pen, but we don't know if he's got any more warnings, and that pen might be removed as well at the end of the race. Kush has got a pen, which is legit, I think. And Ghost has got tyres which should be absolutely dying at this point. But he's holding on to third, it looks like, which would be incredible.
Yeah, I'll have a look after in the race classification, see if Cohen did get any additional warnings, because that might decide if that penalty gets removed or not. But yeah, at the moment anyway, obviously with provisionally at least Cohen's penalty will count, so that would actually put Vapor New onto the podium, and he's probably been, for me, one of the quieter people in this trainer cars.
Definitely.
But he's actually pretty close to this 3-car fight, and Ghost again really close to Cohen. Is he going to try and move?
Oh, that's a puncture! It's a puncture for Cohen, front left!
Oh, Cohen's front left has gone. This is incredible.
He's holding on though for the moment. He's not now, and he's lost the spot. He's going to lose the podium.
And Vapor Noof is trying to make a move past Kush as they both try and navigate the stricken Alfa Romeo. Feynman is going to take the win, but can these guys just get it through these last couple of corners? I've never seen tyre wear like it before.
Yeah, Feynman comes across the line and
Cohen's
wins.
nearly taken Krypton with him.
Oh no!
Taking Krypton out with him.
Oh my God! So much is going on.
And in the end, it's Ghost takes second, Noof takes third, Kush fourth, Krypton fifth. Cohen gets 6th, and Ryan somehow salvages 7th after everything. Furhan is 8th, Spreen in 9th, and Loic gets 10th. But from what I saw there, Cohen was trying to almost move out of the way of people, but Krypton had already committed to go down his inside. So that may have cost Krypton a position to Kush.
I have no idea what exactly went on, and I was so confused because so many different things happened at the same time. But I'm surprised that it was Cohen getting the puncture rather than Ghost, who was on 1 lap older tyres. And I saw it from Ghosts on board that Cohen got the puncture on the front left. That is incredible. Last lap of the race, and even the last sector, and Cohen loses his podium due to a front left puncture. But very well done to Thyman. He worked hard for that one, and he deserves it in the end. Wins the race ahead of Ghosts, who got lucky, I'd say, with Cohen's puncture on the last lap, but some good tyre management from his side as well. And Vapor Nooth in the end picks up third spot with one of the most quiet races of today's grid. And Kush, in the end, despite his 3 second time penalty, finishes fourth out of Kryptonite. Then it's Cohen. That penalty might be removed. I can actually quickly check if Cohen's got a warning afterwards. No, he hasn't. So that penalty might be removed, and that might then be P5 from Ryan. Will absolutely be taking that P7 in the end, I think. Fairhand finishes in P8 on his F4 debut. Spreen in P9, and Loic takes the final point of today. And Nino just outside the points then by 6/10 he missed out on the final point. Cazizzo in P12. Max with that puncture a couple of laps before the end of the race finishes P13 out of Simply P14. Gabri in P15 and McCrew in 16th then. And that was quite an eventful race and quite an eventful end to a race.
Not half on that one. That was absolutely incredible. And obviously we talk about Cohen's penalty may get removed, but I don't know what Krypton would have thought about what happened between him and Cohen just coming up to the line there. But that was absolutely insane. Feynman probably won't have had a clue what was going off behind him. He'll have just been doing his own thing and doing an absolutely stunning job as well. But I don't know, maybe a combination of good tyre management and being in clear air. Because we saw Ghost. It wasn't exactly like he was conserving his tyres behind Cohen. He was trying to look for a move, locking up his tyres. So I would not have banked on it being Cohen getting the puncture instead of Ghost. That was really surprising.
Yeah, and I only just saw it from his from Ghost's onboard that he has got that puncture, and I saw him understeer then. But I gotta say, I was surprised that Cohen actually had that kind of pace in the next corner as well to only lose one spot at that point.
I got no words for what we just saw. Like, we've just had an incredible race. The drivers that have previously dominated in the first 3 rounds really nowhere to be seen today. We had so many different drivers come to the fore, and yeah, well done to Feynman, well done to Ghost, and also well done to Vapornoof. Everyone on the podium, I thought, did a really good job.
Yeah, it was very entertaining today. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well who are watching. And yeah, that is it with round 4 then today. I had fun commentating, especially the last couple of laps where the tactical game died out a little bit and everyone just went for their moves, had committed moves. We saw some brilliant moves, for example, from Thyman going past Max, then Max getting the puncture, and on the last lap, obviously, it's difficult to describe it in words what all went on then. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you will be joining us next week when there's probably going to be even more chaos when we are going to Monaco, and I think that's going to be one hell of a race, at least in terms of excitement and chaos. But hopefully we'll see a deserved winner next week once again after we had Feynman today. And Jake, thank you very much for commentating with me tonight. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, no worries. I've absolutely really enjoyed it. I cannot wait for Monaco next week.
Yeah, and with that being said, make sure to check out the F1 stream, which is live right now. And yeah, until then, join us next week, once again 7 p.m. UK time on Monday. And until then, goodbye and take care.